That is snow, and that means we're in Michigan, and we're going to start off by trying this resale shop called Habitat for Humanity before we go back over to RPM and pick up with the letter D and do some soul searching. Tell you what, this place is packed. People are just coming in out of the cold looking for bargains. All right, free beer. Oh no, tomorrow. These places are helping the community in one way or the other, so that's cool. Just asked the guy if he has any old records, but he says, no, we got an old record player though. So a lot of times you get some cool vintage stuff. It's over here. The record player must have sold because I don't see it anywhere. Just a bunch of old furniture, desks, sewing machines. That's about it. No luck. Let's try the next place. All right, stop number 2. This place is a used furniture store, and I got some old swing era music out of here before. Let's see what they got. No old records, but he's definitely got a roof leak. But I take that back. Here's some old 78s right there. On these babies, I look for Robert Johnson. And I look for Louis Jordan. And I picked up a Louis Jordan the other day. Not so much Al Jolson. Robert Johnson would be a huge find. And but I got Is You Is or Is You Ain't My Baby. So not so much the Benny Goodmans. That's actually not a bad record. Buddy Baker. I don't know. Frankie Lane on Mercury, not so much. Like I said, Benny Goodman, but this is the stuff my dad used to listen to in his era. So, Benny Goodman Orchestra. Swing era. Any cowboy fans out there? Gene Autry. Christmas. Like you can go down the 78 rabbit hole, like Gene Krupa. Deliver Me to Tennessee. Sort of dark in here. Knock Me a Kiss. Benny Goodman again. You gotta be careful because these things will break if they'll shatter like glass. To Fire by Georgia Gibbs. I'm looking for the name of an artist with a blues song that I know. Come on to my house, come on to my house. No thanks, Rosemary. I'm looking for Robert Johnson, Love in Vain. Let's say that, or Sweet Home Chicago. I like Basin Street Blues, but I don't know Herb Jeffries or Buddy Baker. I might kick myself, but that's it. There's an old close and play record player, and we had something like this. Airline, I don't know who the maker is, but there you go. You would stack your 45 adapter there. If you had more than one, you'd flip over the stabilizer, and then you would hit start. The tone arm would drop over onto your record, and when it's done, your little adapter would drop the next 45. So that's the way it worked. Speakers right here on the front underneath this. I would say this is a 1958, 59, early 60s unit suitcase. So you closed it up and you clamped it and you were ready to go. It would be what your parents owned. And there's your turntable right there. And on this little side drawer, it's just sort of a dummy drawer, but you would store stuff underneath here. And there's probably your big woofer. So it's hi-fi, it's not stereo yet. So definitely a vintage console stereo with record player. So I don't know if it's stereo, but it definitely looks hi-fi. If you're tired, you can have a seat in the snow. All right, back at RPM Records. And yeah, it's the middle of winter. So we're gonna make it short and sweet on the outside of the store, but I'm gonna go back to the 45 room and we'll definitely check that out. Here we are, and it's winter, and we got icicles galore. So sooner I can get into the record store where it's nice and warm, the better. Like I say, RPM Records, and we'll go on and see if Chase and Leland, maybe even Tim's there today. So it's always been a good find. I'm gonna look for some Northern Soul, and I left off with the letter D last time, so I'll use that alphabetized list, see what they got. All right, got the new February arrivals, everything you want, especially an open sign. There's Leland. What's up, guys? All right, you guys have been back here with me before. Nothing different really. Maybe we'll run into Tim just to review. This is A through Z, and we're gonna start right here with the letter D. And I'm gonna pull out my Northern Soul list, and we're gonna start with this bucket right here. I just want to show you, Tim's got this set up with individual little record players so you can play your stuff before you buy it. On this side too, this is a Caliphone 1030 AV, and pretty cool, you know. And he's got little bins of like highlighted Stax, James Brown, Sussex, Curtinum, new arrivals. Those mystery bags, those are always popular, $5 each. Last week I could only find speed limit 25, but now we got the right speed going here. Good job, Tim. And once again, in case you missed it, you got the Caliphone 1030 AV. So he's got two different record players that you can try playing your records on. Price is right. It's always a good deal when you can get 3 for $5, unless otherwise marked. Oh, gotta mention Record Store Day. I've been here for Record Store Day, and they do a pretty good job. The line starts outside the house, so April 12th is when I gotta be back, right there. What I started with, and it was just a color-coded mess. Then I tried to do this one, but it didn't have the label on it. So finally, I got the Northern Soul Top 500 alphabetically. A subscriber sent me this list. And I thought it was somebody from England, but the dude's from Maryland. So I'm gonna start here in the D's with Rita DaCosta. Let's get started. Clear a spot right here, and then set my D there and start working the list. That's a good place as any to set it. And the nice part about this is this is right at waist level. So that's where I'm gonna set up shop. Oh, that's letter D. Let's get started. It's a strap-on chest mount. Right away we're looking at Daddy Dewdrop. Chickaboom was a big hit, but we're looking for DaCosta, and right away we go to Steve Dahl. We talked about this record last week. Do You Think I'm Disco? Guilty pleasure, right? We're already in Dale and Grace, but on the list, I want David and the Giants. Might not be allowed. Kiki D. How the hell did she end up on a Northern Soul list? So Dale and Grace. I'm still gonna flip through these, but I'm already looking for the next box. Damn Yankees, Vic Damone. So I need DAV. The best is the good stuff you find in between. So Terrence Trent D'Arby, his first album was so damn good, and then everything from there on was just a disappointment. So Wishing Well is great. Sign Your Name Across My Heart. Matter of fact, I really thought this guy was going to be the soul star of the 80s, and that was the cover of the album. If you remember, I had it. So it was a great album. Pretty impressed with Bobby Darin gets his own little bin. So that shows you how many 45s that guy put out. Let's move on to the next D. And I see DAV, so let's check that out. And that's somebody with a DAV last name is on my list. So David and the Giants. David Lee, Davis, Melvin Davis, and Davison. Wow. Okay. David and David. David and Jonathan. Okay. John Davidson. Danny Davis. Paul Davis. But no Melvin Davis. Man. So that just shows you these Northern Soul guys are pretty obscure. Charlie Daniels. You know, sometimes they're mixed in too, because I just pulled a Charlie Daniels out of a Paul Davis. But I'm not going to go through each one individually. Sammy Davis. So I'm already blasting through the Davises. Now, at the end of the D's, he always has a miscellaneous D, so I might find them in there. They're just not enough to have their own little tab. So Davis, Tyrone Davis. I'm looking for Melvin Davis. And, well, here's Day, Bobby Day, Doris Day, but I want a Muriel Day right there. Or Daybreak. I ain't seeing it. Next box. Next one, Morris Day. I'm a sucker for Morris Day. Especially the stuff he did. Oak Tree. I remember that one. I picked these up, but I'm not gonna buy any Morris Day today. Taylor Dane, the Yoopers. Now, you might not know, but the Yoopers is slang for the Upper Peninsulas. The UP, U period P, and then they call it the Yoopers. That means you're from the UP, if you say I'm a Yooper. If you're from below the bridge, sometimes they call you a troll. The Bars, they were one of the last ones to sign with Motown. I think they're from Michigan, too. Grand Rapids area, possibly. It's with the Daz Band, man. I like these guys. What was it? Let It Whip was their big hit right there. I love the Daz Band. Maybe they should. That was 80s stuff we were listening to over in Butterfield. Oh. Box. Let's keep going on. I don't think you're going to find a Northern Soul with its own categorization tab, but you never know. So we're moving on to the DEs now. The Debonaires, Kiki D, Christopher. Oh, look at Kiki D has her own little tab. Now, the name of the song we're looking for is One on a Magic Carpet Ride. Boy, it sounds like Steppenwolf, right? But who knew Kiki D has a Northern Soul? The D Lights. Let's check it out. All right, Kiki D. The name of the song we're looking for is On a Magic Carpet Ride. And we know I got the music in me. And Chicago. Simple Melody. I've got the music in me. Simple Melody. I've got the music in me. Amorous. Amorous. I've got the music in me, and I've got the music in me. That was her big hit that I knew of. And then she did one with Elton John, too, right? A duet. So, the only oddball are these promos, but that's Chicago, Both Sides, by Kiki D. So that's not the name of the song. And that's how specific. When you're getting into Northern Soul, it's not just an artist. It has to be a certain song that was played at the Wiggum Casino or whatever the hell it was that you guys dance at all night long. We didn't have that over here. We just went to the stadiums and pulled out our Bic lighters. All right, moving on through the DEs. So D Lights would be the next one on the list. And the D Larks, and of course the Dells. I see a tab for the Dells, D Lights, D Larks, The Dells, it looks like we're going to be going into this tab here. Now, Run for Cover. The Dells was a Chicago band, so Cadet. This one's on chest, so we're looking Run for Cover. Let's check it out. And it's on chest, so that's Cadet, right? I want my mama. I love this group. Matter of fact, I met a guy that sang with them, or at least he claimed to. I haven't been able to confirm that. I made him sing for me. And he could sing. But here's the classic Cadet label. So you got Chess, Checker, and Cadet. And manufactured by Chess right there, if there's any doubt. And Argo is another one of theirs. There's probably a handful more of that. And the one I'm looking for is on Chess, which is going to stand out really strongly amongst all these Cadet. But I would take a reissue if it was on Cadet. So we're looking for something by the Dells called Run for Cover on Chess. And I'm not finding it. And look at that. This guy had his own little stamp, man. No one's gonna steal his records. Oh, what a night. Great song title. Here's their later 20th Century Fox release stuff. Look at Us Now, Happy Song. So this is like 77. Good thing in my list and the way Tim categorizes by last name. So if your last name is Davis, you will go in the D. Discogs does it by first name. So Paul Davis would go in the P. But as long as this list in this bin are in the same kind of order, I'm doing okay. So the Dells was a no-go. And then we go right to the DOs. Depeche Mode. You don't see a lot of Depeche Mode, so I might pick up a couple of theirs. People Are People. I Feel You. One Caress, and I Feel You. People Are People was a big one, A Question of Lust with, that's a good record. It's not a picture disc. I'm gonna probably pass this time. I don't think I've sold any Depeche Mode, but that's a great, I had this album. Back-to-back hits. Let's see what they look like. Okay, I'm getting off on a tangent, but that's like near mint. So is that one. I might pick it up. There you go. Already halfway through the D's, I might get to the E's. You know, it's sort of weird. Like there's some letters that not very many bands are in the D column. Yeah, there's tons of S's and tons of B's, but not so much D's. Okay, so what are we looking for? Derek and Ray and the Detroit Executives. That's a cool name. Demain. Diodato Derek. Derringer. Jackie DeShannon and the Detergents. Nothing there. I've got that record. Riley and the guys up front were just waiting for a shipment. Oh, Devo. Forgot about them. I remember seeing them on Saturday Night Live. As a matter of fact, I guess they had a little bit during the Saturday Night Live 50-year anniversary. Let's see what they got. Whip It. You can tell that's a jukebox type scuff pattern. So that was dropped on the platter. It almost gets like a spirograph. These are loved records. They're beat up. Working in a coal mine. It's in really nice shape. That was from the movie Heavy Metal. I'm gonna get that one too. Okay, so I'll tell you what. There's nothing on this list after DE all the way to DO. So that blows away that box. Neil Diamond has his own bin. Let's just go through the rest of the D's. I'm going to skip all the way to the DOs and see if I can find Carl Douglas. And then we'll move on to dramatics, drifters, duets, and the dynamics. We'll know Carl Douglas, so we're on to the DRs and the DUs and the DYs. So maybe we're going to find it in the generic D bin. Carl Douglas, I think he was on the list. Let's check this box out, see if we find anything. I got ahead of myself. Oh yeah, Carl Douglas right there. Serving a sentence of life. He ain't messing around. United Artists label. See what we can find. Several Carl Douglas. Oh, that Carl Douglas of Kung Fu fighting fame. Why did I not know that? So I've got about half a dozen of those. I guarantee you this is going to almost be all Kung Fu fighting. There are different fonts and different labels. Same song. In 6th grade, this was such a big hit that all the kids were doing Kung Fu, or what we thought was Kung Fu, out on the playground. And then the teachers had to tell us no more martial arts. At Catholic school, they didn't like that Kung Fu fighting. All right. So what are we looking for? Carl Douglas serving a life sentence. Yeah, maybe that happened after the Kung Fu fighting. He got sentenced to life. He was so effective that he maybe put somebody out. Kung Fu fighting, Kung Fu fighting. He sold a few of those here. But serving a life sentence is a Northern Soul song. So I like finding stuff that's hard to find. Gambling Man, he was a fighter, he was a gambler, and apparently he ends up serving a life sentence. There's Kung Fu fighting with dancing the Kung Fu, the lesser known follow-up. Dance the Kung Fu, Changing Times, Kung Fu fighting, Blue-Eyed Soul Part 1. I do not see serving a life sentence. And that United Artists label would just jump out at you. It's not going to happen today. All right. Carl Douglas, now I know. The Kung Fu fighting guy. So then we go right on the list, right? Makes it easy. Dramatics, drifters, and duets. Ooh, I see drifters already. So you got to pay your dues by the drifters. Everybody knows Under the Boardwalk. See what we got right there at the end of the box. You got to pay your dues on Atlantic. So I usually take a handful. So I'll take you home. I feel good all over. And sometimes these are a B-side. White Christmas.
If you find something today, let us know.
And there's a shipment coming in, so those guys are unloading some LPs. We're in the 45 room at RPM Records, and they're looking for some old Northern Soul. Magic Moment. Drifters had some kind of wonderful. Of course, we knew that. Saturday Night at the Movies, you got to pay your dues on Atlantic. Now, this is a reissue. There goes My Baby, Drip Drop, I Count the Tears, Saturday Night at the Movies, Spanish Lace, Saturday Night at the Movies, White Christmas. And Ben E. King was with the Drifters, right? But he does not sing lead vocals on Under the Boardwalk, which a lot of people just automatically assume. Up on the Roof is a great one. James Taylor covered it, had a big hit with it. Huh. Up on the Roof. Atlantic was just a great label. I get excited when I see that black and red label. All right, so people think I'm talking to myself, which I sort of am. But nothing there. Let's take another handful. A lot of drifters. So I like my chances. And we are looking for drifters. You gotta pay your dues on Atlantic. So we got a lot of Atlantic. I got sand in my shoes. There Goes My Baby. That's another great song. On the Roof. Nobody But Me. Save the Last Dance for Me, another big one. I think that was Carole King who wrote that. Yep. Thomas Schumann. I think she might have done it. Nobody But Me. Nobody But Me. And we're looking for, once again, You Gotta Pay Your Dues. Under the Boardwalk. Drip Drop. Moonlight Bay. There Goes My Baby. Oh my. This Magic Moment. Jay and the Americans did that too. Some kind of wonderful. That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, ask that guy right there, Riley, with the baseball cap on. Oh, there you go. I've had that happen. You get in here, and all of a sudden I have to go to the bathroom. You know, what is it about looking through records that makes you go to the bathroom? I think it's the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in, and you calm down, and all of a sudden the relaxation. You know, something about looking through old records that gets you to relax and forget about the moment, and then your bodily functions actually start to work. It's my theory. So yeah, need to go to the bathroom or get things moving? Go look through some old records at a record store. Work just as good as Metamucil. All right. My Island's in the Sun. Didn't Weezer make a song out of that title? Memories Are Made of This. Feeling better? Dude, that happens to me all the time. I go to the record store and I'm like,
I didn't want it to be the first thing I asked for when I walked in the door.
yeah, exactly. Is that the name of an album? All right. Almost through the Drifters. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty. So the name of the song we're looking for is You Gotta Pay Your Dues. And I ain't seeing them. Under the Boardwalk. Ruby Baby. Under the Boardwalk. A lot of these are lesser known hits, because you gotta remember these DJs in the UK were out trying to outdo each other. And they were finding the more obscure stuff that maybe didn't make it in the States, but got a real good listen in the UK. But the ultimate test is on the dance floor. So if you were into the Northern Soul scene in the 60s, 70s, or even 80s, these got in heavy rotation on the dance floor in mostly the northern part of England, but I'm sure in some clubs in London and stuff too. I've been to Liverpool, I've been to Manchester, I've been to Scotland, but I've never been to like any of these all-night dance clubs. I just found out about this by doing research. Not seeing it. I love that yellow label. At the club, answer the phone. That's it. All right, so no luck on the Drifters. And you got to pay your dues. So let's move on. Let's pull another one off the rack. Always watch your low back. Bend at the knees, right? Let's see if we got anything here. Ooh, Bob Dylan. Just saw the movie, which I recommend. A Complete Unknown. Who do we get? Duets and dynamics. I doubt either of those are going to have their own little bin, but Duran Duran, I'm going to be disciplined. Now Dylan, I'm going to look through. Pledging My Time. Rainy Day Women, it's going to be 90%. I don't know why. Lay Lady Lay. Peggy Day is B-side of Lady Lady. It doesn't look like he's added any Dylan since I've been in here, but you never know. I would love a Blowing in the Wind promo. Pledging My Time. Not Like This. Slow Train. Gotta serve somebody. Good song, but I've got all these. Monkey Broadway. That's not Bob Dylan. That's by Dyke and the Blazers. And he's not on my list either. So the duets, the dynamics, and then we're on to E. Okay, so that's what happened there. Dyke and the Blazers are from behind Bob. And there we go. Duran Duran, I like them. I could probably spend some time, but let's keep moving on. All right, we'll move on to the generic D now. And it's getting a little tricky because you got to sort of remember, and it's not necessarily going to be in alphabetical order. So you got to remember every D Northern Soul artist that you're looking for all at once. Freed, we're looking for David and DeCosta, Rita DeCosta, David and the Giants, David Lee, Melvin Davis, Alfie Davidson, Muriel Day, Daybreak, Eddie Day and the Four Bars, the Debonaires, Kiki D, the D-Lights, the Delarks, the Dells, Aaron DeMaine, Derek and Ray, Detroit Executives, Carl Douglas, the Dramatics, the Drifters, the Duets, and the Dynamics. Can you remember all that? So far, I've only seen the Divinals. I touch myself. Steve Davis, Melvin Davis. Keep looking. Johnny Day. I want Muriel Day. Here's Steve Dahl again. The Youpers again. Who's that? Disco Tex. Mike Douglas. There's just so many oddball records. David Dundas. F.R. David. Dudes. Hey, Leland, how you doing? Good boy? Leland is always here to greet you when you walk in.
Oh, the furnace died.
Oh, Donaldson.
Sunday or Saturday night. So that's a brand new furnace.
Sounds like they had some furnace troubles. That's the problem with a brick and mortar business that nobody sees. Paul Delicato.
So Monday and Tuesday.
You can sort of tell like this modern stuff.
We have the heater in the back going, so
you know, it isn't really Alfie Davison. That's Davidson.
Little brisk. Not as bad. Not as bad as it could have been.
Dolby Q.
Tuesday it was a little brisk in here.
DeVito. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, what's the hit about that?
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it does.
DBs, they were a good band. I might pick them up. There's for that Athens scene. I believe, maybe Carolinas, but I know they collaborated with REM, which I got an episode on REM coming up. Tell Lords, I remember they were around for a cup of coffee in the 80s. Dwayne D. Now we're looking for Kiki D. Doris Duke. I got the duets. You know, some of these people were just, they came and they went, you know, everybody. So a lot of things that have to happen for you to make it in the music business. Like at least 4 things that I can think of. One of them, you have to have the talent. And number 2, you have to have the material. So can you write songs? And then you have to have good management, telling you where to go, where to play, who to sign, what not to sign. And then you got to have promotion. You know, are you going to sign this big deal, but they're not going to put any money behind you and promote you? I mean, I heard someone say you got to have all 4 of those things. All right. Kathy Dolt, docking. Not seeing any Carl Douglas. But then again, he would be in his own slot. Yeah. Thomas Dolby. I love this guy. Flying North is this album, She Blinded Me with Science, is good from beginning to end. Don't let anybody tell you that was just a one hit. Steve Davis, Melvin Davis, or Lee David.
See a couple birthdays probably gonna be excited about. Yeah, we'll send around and go get some of the pictures. He's in the series still. Oh, is he over there?
Diana Duke. Duke Jupiter. If I get through the D's, I'll be happy. Tifford and Telbrook. The main 2 guys are Squeeze, I think. You know, just keep going with Squeeze. But those guys they had the material, right? They could write some great songs. The Del Fuegos. They were good. It's a nice clean copy. I might get that. There's Thomas Dolby, Flying North with. I've got it. Last time I was here, the wife walked in. We made it part of the episode where I forgot my wallet. Actually, it was true. And then she had to pay for my records. And the look on her face was just classic. Okay, Dwayne D. I thought we had a D-E-E. No, it's Kiki D. I'm starting to remember. I should have the memory. Doris Duke. I have the whole list memorized. Nothing in this box, so let's put this one back. I only got one more unsorted miscellaneous D, so I might not find any Northern Soul this trip. But maybe we got time to do these. All right, let's give it a try. Dante and the Evergreens. See the crunch. Now this one says 50s and 60s. So maybe that's where I need to be. The Devotions. Delights, Delarks, the Deacons. Baywatch. The Dubs. We're about probably 4 hours from Detroit, so you would think, you know, oh, you got to go to Detroit to get Motown. No, the whole state, the whole country is covered with Motown, soul, all the Motown subsidiaries, like you got Tamla, VIP, Johnny Donegan. It's a skiffle group they always talk about. The UK guys know about him. I'm getting tired, actually. It's almost cocktail hour. I will look through Bob Seger before I leave. I'm not gonna. Johnny Desmond. Nope. The Duels. The Duets. That's a weird label. Tommy D. Looking for Kiki Chandeliers. Turtles. Let's zoom in a little bit, see if we can get you some close-up on these labels. Candad. Come on. Northern Soul. Come on, you're in here. Billy Daniels. The Dynatones. The Dynamics. God, that's close. John Singers. Betty Davis. John Street. Dickie Doo and the Don'ts. Johnny Desmond. The Dynamics right there. Yes, I love you, baby. Come on. Oh, man. You know what? I'm still might just pick it up as a placeholder because it's a Northern Soul band. Yes, I love you on top 10. Let's see what that looks like. Man, it's beat up. But I'm sure it's the same band. I might just pick it up just for a tickler reminder. Every time I run across that record, I think, yeah, I gotta go find the Dynamics. But the one song I want is on top 10. It's called Yes, I Love You, Baby. The Devotions. Nope. Diana Decker. Bob Dini. Billy Daniels. Billy Daniels. Dean and Gene. I don't know, man. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty.
You got a little stand? I see got little holes. Is there a little base?
Alan Dale.
Leland, come on. Hey.
Beltines. Deluxe.
How can we help you?
Tommy Dorsey.
I talked with you earlier, I have some CDs.
Oh, that's all of them?
Yeah, I thought it was more, but it's the VHS tapes on the back.
Guys are in here hawking their old CDs. I guess I gotta say, yeah, we buy them. But I've never seen where they got too excited about it, buying them. I'm looking for Lee David. Here's Russ David. If I miss something, you guys point it out. I'll come back. Paul Desmond. I love Paul Desmond. That's a nice, clean looking record. If you don't know, Paul Desmond was the saxophone player for Take 5, Dave Brubeck. And he's got a distinctive sound, and I've never seen him on a jazz record, so I'm picking that one up. So there you go.
Yeah, it's in my driveway with like 2 feet of snow on it now.
I got mine stuck.
The Daddy-O's.
90 sport.
Bill Deal and the Hondells. Maryland. Dante. Brian Davies. Duvall. Dijon. Douglas. Kyle Douglas. Getting down to it. Maybe we'll have enough time to do E. Alan Dare. Bill Deal. Lou Douglas.
How many miles you got?
The Dubs.
Speedometer didn't work when I brought it home.
Delroy's.
Digital dash in it.
Delarks.
And I had somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was originally an Indian truck.
Devotions.
Yeah, like 215
Nope.
or something.
That's D. That's the end of D. All right, so the E section is only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 bands. So we might have time to do E. Let's give it a shot. All right, let's move on to the E's. See what we find. Eagles and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Starts with Eddie and Ernie on the list, so let's just move on. Sheena Easton, Jesus. She's got like her own bin. Some of these have been misfiled. All right, it's not quite the Dewey Decimal System, but Eddie and Ernie. Might be easier just to do this on the floor. I'm looking for Eddie and Ernie, Edmund Jr., Edwards. Is that Bobby Edwards? That's Lou Edwards. Tommy Edwards. Walter Egan. So not Bobby, not Tommy. We're looking for Lou. Right there. Albert. We'll move on. Donnie Albert. He's got his own little section. All right, so it's nice coming in here during the week. There's only 2 people in the whole room, so you got room. Come here on a Saturday, it can be a little bit of a zoo, which is good for the owner, I guess. So we're
Already spent more damn money on stuff that
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I don't know what yours is like.
1990.
yeah, where are we?
93 is before we switched over to
Albert, Donnie Albert, right there.
Mine has a lot of parts that 89.
So we're looking for something called a piece of leather on Gateway.
Windshield wiper motor. Like the 90 model thing.
Everything looks like Avco. A piece of leather on Gateway. It's got a Motown cover. That's both a Motown cover. All platinum. Where did our love go? Hey, boy, he covered a lot of Motown, didn't he? Don't see a piece of leather. And I certainly don't see a Gateway. Pretty wild. Okay. Surely, Alice, you know the Shoop Shoop song, right? It's in his Kiss, right? That was made famous by Cher. She did a cover it. It's one of the great 60 songs. Originally, I believe it was on VJ. But we're looking for Soul Time on Columbia.
That's a special switch down here on the right-hand side. It is. Try to find one of them.
Yeah, so I can tell you.
Okay, real quick. It's the name game, and there's the rules. But I went through it once already. Everything is the name game or the clapping song. And there's no Northern Soul in there for Shirley Ellis. The one I was looking for was called Soul Time in Columbia. All right, trying to get through the last of the E's. I'll be happy. If Betty Everett, I found a nice clean copy of that on VJ, so I picked that up with Jerry Butler. But I'm looking for Getting My Crowd, not Let It Be Me. So Earl Jean, the Exciters, not seeing any of those guys. Eric and Carol, Bobby Edwards. I'm looking for Lou Edwards. The Edsels, Empires, the Embers. Not seeing any of that. The Excels, the Exciters. Bobby Edwards, I want Lou Edwards, Jimmy Edwards, Electric Indian, Equals, Baby Come Back, what a great song that is. Who's that on there? Is that Eddie Grant, lead singer of that band? You got me the Earls, Bobby Edwards, Earl and Jimmy Eldridge, Emotions, Randy Edlin, Rick Eli, Betty and Dutch, Rick Eli, Johnny Albert, yeah, Johnny Albert, right? A piece of leather. Man, I'm getting close. A Little Piece of Leather on Gateway. That's an old label right there. At least I'm finding the dude. The X-Time. Billy X. Elliot Everett. Elliot Brothers. Bob Elderly. She's looking for some Led Zeppelin.
All right. Are we ready to roll?
Have some?
I know. We just saw the movie.
Are we ready to roll?
We're ready to roll. I just got to get through the rest of this
Oh, the
box.
theater?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
They had the nice theater with the cup holders and the recliner, and you could drink beer in your seat. I talked to him.
And then the contractor might call you, so I think you need to wrap it up here.
Why would you?
That's one movie where the beer doesn't sound like a bad choice.
No, and they ask you, well, when would you like your second beer delivered? And I'm like, yeah, about an hour in, and sure enough, right on like clockwork, man. So I was like, yeah, this is a way to watch a movie. I tried to find it in IMAX, but it was just only on certain days and certain.
Yeah, I saw that. Or my mom was telling me she looked it up today. Like the first day was IMAX, and then it wasn't.
Right, it was like the IMAX was only on Wednesday, and I'm like, nah, I gotta take my wife out for Valentine's. Looks like we're not gonna find any Northern Soul this trip, but I did get through the E's. Yep.
How come you're holding the phone? You're not having it on your device.
Well, I had it on my device, and I had to talk to my ankle.
The contractor might call you, so make sure you answer.
Stony Edwards. I want Jackie Edwards or Lou Edwards. Not Stony Edwards. Not gonna find one this trip.
Are we done?
Yep.
All right.
Jimmy Edwards, hang on.
Go wrap it up.
All right, let's call it a wrap. I'm being cut off. Time to hit the pub. See you next time. We'll pick up with letter F. RockMine. Goodbye, 45 room.
Get the wallet this time?
Oh yeah, definitely. Last time I didn't. Hey, we got some artistry going here. More filming.
All the social media posts that we
I like and share as much as I can. So if you see anything called RockMine, that's me. That's I do that weekly episode.
Let's wrap it up.
I will.
Yeah, the only time I'm on there is when I post them.
Yeah,
He does like everything else.
the owner. What's his name?
Alex.
Yeah, that's well, that was Greg's son, right?
It is.
Yeah.
His oldest.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out where you guys were at. Wasn't it a stereo shop across from the mall for years?
The sound room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I drove by there today. And then what year did you guys move here?
2015.
Okay.
Going on 10 years.
Yeah, I love this place, man.
$10 to get you up
All right.
the door.
Sounds good.
Fun.
Yep.
1060.
All right.
Give you one of these record store days.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be back.
April 12th this year.
And if you see anything crazy, cool on 45s, give me a call.
Oh, we got one of your cards. In the
Okay, cool.
office, yeah.
All right.
I did list something the other day that was one of mine. Pretty
Yeah.
rare.
Was it a 45?
Manziel.
Yeah.
Space Funk.
So can I find that on your?
It's on our Discogs.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's like $400. So
It's a little rich for my blood. Where did you guys find it?
I found it in a collection. Yeah.
Jesus. Okay, cool.
It looked unplayed. It was unplayed.
I'll look it up. I mean, I'm lucky if I get a Parliament or something like that. You know what I mean? You don't get a lot of funk, but I was down in Chicago at Hyde Park Records, picked up a bunch of funk and soul. I just bought a whole box for 2 boxes for $100.
Looking for the obscure labels.
Yes.
If you want to find
Yep,
the value.
absolutely. All right, thanks, Riley. Have a good one, man. Yep. Yeah, I got some some good stuff, but no Northern Soul. So RPM Records, that's where you go. These guys will take care of you. Usually my wife drops me off, and then what I do is just try to get through as many letters as I can. And then my goal is to get through the letter Z by the end of the year. But I think I'll be there by July. Cheers. Right, no Northern Soul, but I tell you what, getting up north is good for the soul. When you get back here in the woods, away from the rat race, listening just to the sound of nature, you don't even need vinyl. It's just a good homecoming. See you guys next time on RockMine.